at school.
Oh, it was terrible in here too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, my phone right now can't connect.
No, I was just
Okay.
noticing that since I
Okay.
saw this on it.
Starting now, okay. All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Any additions or changes to the agenda? Okay. Anyone want to motion to approve the agenda?
I'll motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Visitors to be heard.
And we'll wait for that agenda item to discuss.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll
Yep.
pass on this
Yeah.
one. Okay, so we'll go on to the minutes from last meeting.
I know we were trying to go paperless, but I just printed them because I know it was our first try. In case it was difficult to pull up, so I can catch you after the meeting and see how that diligent communities is working for you.
I'll motion to approve them as written.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Moving on to reports, Parks and Rec Director report.
Okay, this shouldn't take too long. Things are winding down for the first summer season. It's been a great first run at it. On July 30th, we had our summer rec tennis program. We had 35 kids show up, and it was a great turnout. We had Kevin Plank leading that session for us, and went over really well. Skipping down to August 6th and 7th, we had our rec golf, so Jacob Hinker partnered with us on that, and a big thanks to Lankota Country Club for allowing us to use that facility. Good partnership there, and we had 15 come over the course of the 2 sessions for those 2 days. We had our parking lot pool party on August 5th. Big thank you to the sponsors of the gift baskets. It was a hit. It was kind of fun. It was busy the majority of the day. It would kind of go in waves, and then there'd be a little bit of a lull, but from start to finish, we had a wonderful community turnout. So thanks for the community for showing up. Pooch paddle, that was kind of a fun deal on August 18th. I didn't know what to expect, but we had a really good turnout there. We ended up having 10 new dog licenses come through, people that wanted to come and, kind of go through the paperwork for that as well. So, fun evening. It happened to be on the first day of the open house for the schools too, so I think people kind of ran and hit that and came on over. So, upcoming, both youth flag football and fall soccer are going to be starting up here September 6th. It runs for 5 weeks through until October 4th. So flag football is from, I have that flip-flop, sorry. The times, flag football is, comes second, so soccer's first from 9 to noon, and then flag football is from the noon to 2 time period. So we have 135 kids, K through 6 signed up, 16 teams for flag football, and on the soccer side, we have 100 youth pre-K through 4th grade, and both of those were quite a big increase from the prior year.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah, 13 teams for soccer. So, yeah. Thanks to Sean Flanagan, he has offered just kind of the background. He kind of helped run it last year and had really good notes to be able to follow in terms of budget and supplies, and kind of helped me get through that for my first year. And then we'll also be utilizing the school's practice fields. Both the practice fields, 2 fields that'll literally be on the football field, and then the other 2 on the east side of the football field as well. What do they call that? The tackle football field, I think, or something. I don't know. What do you call that?
On the east side,
junior
that's the
football.
junior football field.
Okay.
That's it, or it's the track jumping side, or the
Okay.
junior football side.
Okay. So yeah, things are going well. You can kind of see in here, we have everything lined up. People have been trickling in to grab their supplies and things. Uniforms should be in very soon and looking to we have a coaches meeting scheduled for flag football, not yet for soccer, because I'm waiting to hear back on when those shirts are gonna be done, because I want to hit two birds with one stone to make sure that they can be here when we have that coaches meeting, so. On the adult side of things, we had our sand volleyball program end on August 21st. We had 5 teams, which was the same as last year. And then summer, the pickleball also ended, and that was a great turnout this year. We had a year-end tournament, both for the competitive and for the rec leagues, and had some good feedback on that. And of course, the pool is closed for the season, and all of our summer rec programming, so. Any questions? I can pause for a minute on the rec side. Okay. In terms of facility and grounds updates, we just had some repairs to the Toolcat, one of our mowers, the X-Mark. And of course, after the storm, there was quite a process. I was completely wowed by, I mean, you could tell that the street's crew and this wasn't their first rodeo. I mean, it was so fun being a city employee, just watching everybody in action doing their thing. But we did have our parks crew go and assist with several days on that after the storm too. We've been keeping up as best as we can. Weeds have been difficult this year, so we have been hitting those as we can for weed control. And then I think the last meeting I gave you an update on the Prairie Habitat Project. Does that sound familiar? Okay, so over by Boynton and Juniper, that 4.5 acres. So we've already done one application of Roundup. I say Drew has done one application of Roundup. We'll do another one yet this fall, and then another one in the spring per some guidance that we've received from the state, our partners on that. So, some extra work was done to the big field. We had an amateur team had the ability to host some district games here, so some extra work was done to prep for that postseason. And some repairs at the pool. Our chairlift was down for some time. It took a bit to identify what the need was for repairs, and had to call a couple different companies, but that got that up and going by the end of the season. We did begin testing cold form weekly, about probably the last 5 weeks of the pool season, and that'll be something that we'll continue implementing. That was based on recommendations. There's no, actual guidance that we have to follow, regulations, I should say, but it's kind of best practices that's being recommended by the municipal league. So, then we had some diving board repairs as well. And then lastly, Nate showed me today, there's 3 more ash trees that need to come down that have emerald ash borer, so we'll be getting a hold of tree company and getting those taken care of soon as well. So, as far as the survey collection, just moving on to that community engagement and partnerships, the baseball, softball, t-ball survey has gone out in the last week. I think we're at about 32, 33 responses, so a decent response. We'll keep that open yet for a few days, at least till the end of the week, if not starting next. And then I'll be rolling out additional surveys, both on the youth recreation side and then the adult recreation side. I wanted to pause on that because I want to make sure it's a reflection and feedback of people who are participated, but then also gain ideas of future growth. So I wanted to make sure I spent time. I don't want to survey the heck out of people, try to hit them all at once as we can. So, and then kind of a fun project just to feel good. We had a Girl Scout troop get a hold of us, and they ended up making some bird houses that they'll be placing around town, and I'll share some photos when that happens. So kind of a fun update there. That's all I had.
Okay. Thanks.
New business.
Where are we at?
New business.
New business, sorry. All right, LBSA, for guest discussion. Jason?
You're welcome to come join us at the table if you'd like for the discussion, so have a seat.
I'm just here as a representative for the LBSA. In our last meeting, I had heard that you guys were turfing putting turf in at the new batting cages. And I didn't know that as an LBSA member, and I thought, well, I should probably start attending some of these meetings and.
Working on wanting to do turf.
We're wanting to,
Yeah.
yeah, we're
It's a
wanting to.
goal.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so like, so that way we're not working on the same thing and that we're working together to make sure that we're not spinning our wheels. And so I'm here to try to find out what's going on so that we're working together.
And we appreciate that too. I think, from the city standpoint, it makes, a lot of sense if we have different entities working on similar shared goals and visions, that we're having those discussions and knowing who's going after, which grants and which projects and in a priority area that makes sense too. So thanks for, offering to come in and visit with us as well. Yeah.
Is there things that you guys are wanting the LBSA to work towards? Is turf one of them still, or I know last year, when we did the batting cages or the fence and that, the batting cages were something that I thought was in on that, and then those didn't get done, so I don't know if
The dugouts, you
the
mean?
dugouts, yeah, I'm sorry.
Dugouts.
Not the batting cages, the dugouts. That was something that I thought we were working on, and then it sounds like maybe we're not.
And I think there's a few spots in the fences, maybe on the softball side, but even the backstop of the baseball, the youth baseball, where it's curling up and stuff, and I think we could look into that, and maybe that's something
The
that.
softball field's been curled up
Yeah.
since I've lived here, and it's never been down, so that would be, it needs like a 2x12, bolted both sides, that'd be the only way you're gonna be able to keep that from happening.
So backstops
Yeah.
on both softball and.
There's a spot on the baseball one, I don't think it's terrible, but, I mean, cause it's newer, right?
It was replaced last year.
I was just
Yeah.
gonna say it was replaced.
But there's still a spot that's starting to curl up.
You should be able to hold that now with
And-
one of
yeah,
those stakes,
yeah.
then that one.
I don't think it would take a lot, but just, that'd be something. At one time, were they talking about putting either a bigger fence or a net over at the softball field to stop the balls from hitting the cars? Did we?
Well,
not
we talked about our last
talk
meeting,
about that?
on the
Okay.
softball field, in the baseball field, on that roadside, having a net go
Yeah,
off, because
that was
that'll reduce car hits.
So, I mean, I don't know if that's a
But that would-
goal of ours.
That would be-
short term, but that could be something.
It'd be a good short-term goal for the fact that you have games and you run out of balls really fast, and then the umpires are really upset. And it, like, just for the high school games, it's not good.
So a net at the softball. along
From the
drive?
backstop, yeah, from the backstop to the dugout.
Okay.
You know, and then the backstop is so short on the softball side, if we could extend it up with a net, I don't know, but like, the officials hate coming and officiating our games at our softball fields. They say it's the worst field they come to for that stuff. They just absolutely hate it. And they just complain to me every time, and I'm like, there's only so much I can do.
And aside from the umps too, we were at the one softball game too, and I think there was at least 5 foul balls that I saw. There was one that hit a car, so just from like a safety
Yeah.
and car standpoint.
Lots of kids running around.
Yeah. So we had talked about that, and then we had also talked about some sort of fencing or some sort of protection, there's the park by the concession stand, the playground by the concession stand there. So they do like warm-up pitching over there for baseball and softball too. So just, again, safety concern potentially with pitching
Overthrown
and then
balls.
little
Yeah.
kids running around there and.
They would never overthrow a ball.
That was another one of the questions, was I know Drew had mentioned wanting something at the softball field
Yeah,
for.
he wanted a wall, like where the pitching is, facing the east side, he wanted to put another fence there. So then that way,
We've approved that about a year ago.
okay, so then he just needs to get in there.
Nothing got done, so that's something that I think it was $500 or something, it wasn't
Wanna
that.
say
No,
that-
it's
that was
not
like
expensive.
last March or
We're talking about the one that goes towards that
The
playground?
bullpen
No,
fences.
the softball bullpen, it's back in the corner off of the road there that goes into the park.
Go in the
Because
other
you have all the
direction.
parents sitting there,
Right.
so we wanted a fence so the balls
So
don't
it's kind of
come in.
both sides, I mean,
Yeah.
both
Yeah.
sides really.
Because the one team warms up here and the other team warms
Yeah.
up here, so I mean,
Got it.
So the LBSA had voted at that time to go ahead and pay for the materials to do that project. I think Drew ballparked it somewhere around $550 if I recall. I can go back and check minutes from that too.
And then at our last meeting, we came up with maybe pressure washing and painting all of the benches.
that would be awesome.
If you guys are open to that, I think, that was one of the reasons we also wanted to come is, I think next Saturday is when we were gonna do the pressure wash, and then Sunday do the paint. And then try to paint them the same green color that somebody recently,
Steam up, yeah.
so that way they all match.
So that particular bench is or bleacher set is a wood one, whereas the rest are, I'm assuming aluminum, but they're in pretty rough shape, so, but I'm no paint expert, but I don't know what that looks like in terms of the power washing and the paint that would be needed, or,
I noticed there's probably 3 or 4 coats on there, cause you can see it all chipped, so I don't know either, we'll have to find out what the best.
and each bench was a different color, it looked
Yeah.
like. Trying that,
And there's,
probably was.
Whatever
well,
paint
one
they
of
had
the
laying
time.
around. Well, I'm out of the mother of pearl, somebody give me fuchsia.
they really need to have the blocks and stuff, like they almost need to be picked up and put concrete or something, cause they're all tipped and, I don't know if you guys walked the other day, if you guys met with Drew and walked, what all.
Just at the big field, we weren't able to.
Okay.
head down
But
that way,
The way that some of how they're sitting, there's some possible fixes there, so those are some of the things I think that the LBSA could help, cause they're easy, they're not too expensive, and you just get some volunteers.
So this is one of those things where it's a neat deal where we've got, one entity willing to help with
Yeah.
the pay and the volunteerism and all of that side, but of course it's on city property, so something like that with paint or bleachers, so do we need to see anything about like what items, I'm looking at Nate, because I'm doing all this too, but just like what types of paint, or what do we need for detail before, like we can give the go-ahead, or,
Colors and materials.
okay,
If you're going to be power washing those, I would be just on with chipping off. If it's gonna be a little bit of a mess, just make sure that we got a way to clean up those.
turpentine or something, or, yeah.
I'm assuming pressure washing would be smart, but again, we don't have to either, as long, they just look rough, and, the one looks so nice now that they're redone, but it'd be nice if we could, something little to make it look nicer.
You guys think it'd be, they're looking pretty,
Yeah,
No,
they-
it's
well,
It looked rough for a few years.
It'd be nice if we could afford new ones.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
in the interim, I mean, I think we can at least make them look nicer.
Those are, not cheap.
Yeah. So yeah, if you just want to send a couple bullets of kind of what the,
I was gonna go
planning
to
steps are and.
Sherwin-Williams, because we even found theirs, so I can get half off
Oh,
the
nice.
cost and ask
Mhm.
them what material we should use on that.
Mhm.
So once I get that from them, and then we're gonna try and color match the other bench, I think was what we were thinking, to keep it consistent, so I can send that info over once I dial it in.
One thing you can ask your LBSA people, like, both baseball fields, they have sprinklers and water, so they have grass. The softball field is weeds because it doesn't get water.
Yeah.
And so it's just weed patch, I mean, it's ankle rolling, it's awful. If there's some kind of mobile, something that we can do to keep grass growing, because it don't matter how much grass you put down, there's no water, nothing's growing but weeds.
We had mentioned that in one of our meetings on the need for the softball field. and
It's bad.
Bulldozing it and
Yeah,
making a new one, but.
we really do.
Sprinklers or something, I mean, that would be something I think that we definitely want to do something for softball.
One of the things that we brought up too, if I remember right, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but we talked about adding fields as part of like the master plan,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, that's something to look at too. I mean, short-term fixes possibly.
Short term until we can.
But
do
if
it.
we've got a long-term
Right.
effort of where it's getting the ball rolling on getting some more fields, then maybe
Right.
we don't have
And then
to
it's just a
go
practice
all
field
in
in the
on
front.
the current ones.
The other thing I know that everyone said the infield is so bad and sloped and.
Yeah. Well, it's better than it was, because we dropped, what, 10 grand, a new air line not that long ago, because it was 20 grand, 40 grand. Yeah, it was really bad before that. Like when it would rain, that whole first base side, you couldn't play games. The water would just accumulate and go down that side. But that's because we don't have drainage out, because there's not drainage on that street out.
It dried up pretty good
So,
this year, I thought. after
Yeah,
some of
so
that
it's
rain.
There were a
it's
couple of
way,
rains where I drove by and thought,
I was
"Oh,
surprised, I know, I was
Holy
like,
cow,
oh,
maybe
good, you might be
maybe."
playing tonight.
so it's way better than it used to be.
Mhm.
The only way you're making that better is you pull everything up and you haul in clay. And then you go down and but that's the amount of money for that. We might as well wait until we do a new field. Because you gotta have a clay base. That's why it's like that, because it's not clay underneath. They just put air lime over the dirt, and that's why it's doing that. You have to have a solid clay base, at least you're not gonna.
How long is the air line gonna last for what you guys put in?
Yeah, you got a few years yet. Probably got a couple of years. So, we gotta be thinking about what we're doing.
I was just gonna go back to the idea of the fall ball nets or whatever, so, we visited and got some input from Drew on that. The big field, has that, and so it's the 4 poles along with the netting system. He's doing some looking back to see what the net cost, but he found kind of where we purchased that through. I think he said per pole, it's maybe about $1,300, just, for the pole. They're pretty long, so it's kind of a to-do for the transporting part of things.
And
And
they were 30 feet tall, right?
Yeah,
And
we
the
don't-
thing is we
probably
won't
don't
need them that
we
tall.
wouldn't
That's
need
all.
them that tall
Okay.
over there, because it would be
15
proportionate
15
to-
feet would be
Mhm.
plenty.
Because I told him too that I would check with Traffic Solutions, because one of the hiccups they ran into when they put those other ones was transporting them here. He spent 3 months trying to find somebody to transport him here. So I thought Traffic Solutions is right off the Harrisburg exit. They have big equipment and they provide like signage posts. I got bus stop posts from them directly. So I thought maybe somewhere local would be, I just thought it was worth a call.
Yeah, because we don't need to go as high. Those baseballs go a lot higher than softballs do.
So I
And
can
the
share
backstop's closer.
who would
And
be,
the kids are not.
send that to you
adults.
when we
Yeah.
find out like some of the information of what was used for that, yeah.
I'll give them a call too.
I guess being here and talking, I think would be helpful if LBSA says, okay, here's a couple of things that we want to do, but in return have you guys say, here's a couple of things that we want to focus on, because then we can vote on, we'll half it with you so that we can actually get something done and work together on
Yeah,
whether it's the net or whether it's the turf. I mean, the turf really has to be done on those batting cages, I think, for
Yeah.
the
And-
balls.
And if it was just even half turfed, it's the hitting the ball straight off the ground, that's what it is. If you're pitching or whatever on the backside, that's not as big of a deal. But when they're coming in, if they're skipping off the ground, that's what's tearing up the balls. If you have that 1/2 where you have your spray painted paint and you have your batter's boxes on the turf, and you would go. So it depends on how you would want to do it, if you want to do, or you do batter's box turf, and then cement in the middle. Depends on cost-wise what you want to do.
So Drew had said that he was ordering chunks of turf right off of Amazon, like 10 by 10 chunks, and that's how he was making some repairs, so maybe that would be something we could look at to see, because I know you can get those batter's box setups on Amazon, and then you could probably just get regular turf for the distance you wanted to cover between that and the pitching mound or where we were pitching from, so.
did you guys ever find out, did anybody from LBSA end up contacting Mammoth
That's what I was gonna ask.
on the
Matt.
Matt did, yeah.
Matt
Okay.
had us on a list for anything between here and Rapid City for tear out.
Okay, so we are.
That we would
Queen
just
Lemons
go,
is on
we
the
would just have
list.
to go
Okay.
pick it up and bring it back.
Okay, because I think from my recollection, I was trying to look back at notes too, just from when that partnership happened to get the batting cages up, but I think the city, we put in 15,000 towards it, was kind of like, we had the estimate of what it was gonna be, if there was any left over for for turf, so be it, but when it's kind of, when that budget's gone, that's what we had set aside for it, so.
And that 15 was for the turf for the batting cages?
No, that was just for, towards the cost of the project so far, what's, yeah.
For the batting
So-
cages and then those repairs that were supposed to be done to the baseball dugouts.
Yes,
Because-
thank
Do
you
we
for
know
that,
if those
yeah.
have gotten, not done yet?
Oh, I gotta
The high school ones?
Yeah. Who, there was a
I thought
teacher
those-
that was gonna do them.
I thought Wendy mentioned the other day in our meeting that they looked really nice.
It wasn't a big repair, I don't think. It was,
No.
I think it was the steps going down, wasn't it, or something,
Some
or?
steps maybe in the dugout.
I think it was done, and it was a very small part of that, if
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah,
right.
it wasn't- it
tiny,
wasn't a
Yes,
big-
yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm. But yeah, let's double check on that.
Yeah, so really just working with you guys on
Mm-hmm.
whether turf's the first thing, so we kind of have a focus too on where we should allocate some of our funds. Is that where you guys are?
Yeah, turf and match, I
First
think,
thing,
are the two things that need to get done.
And I think, from my standpoint, when it was brought up, I was thinking that the turf was gonna be a shoe-in, like it was free, they give it away all the time, and then when they didn't, I think that's where we just thought maybe it was coming still, and so maybe it was just I assumed wrong. But I think that needs to be done, and I think that would be something that,
Because if we don't do something before winter, then they have to come back and seal the concrete. So that I do know, because
And I know
otherwise we're.
I had thought in our meetings that we were moving forward with LBSA doing turf, and then when I heard that you guys might be doing it, and I was like, oh, what, we might be doing the same thing, so that's why.
We were just looking into it,
Sure.
just seeing what it,
Is there of the 15, is there money left over to put towards the turf?
Everything that got budgeted for that project was used. I think we even went over a couple $100 between.
From park?
Yeah, yeah.
So at this point, if we do turf, it's gonna be probably LBSA if we're gonna do it this year yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
because we don't have anything that budgeted have to be next year. We wanted to budget for that.
Another thing just that has come up by quite a few different people, or the need for potential pitching machines and use of that. So I don't know what the group, I don't know if that was ever talked about at this group, but just through feedback from coaches and some of the leagues, I believe, are starting to use.
there are pitching
Baseballs.
machine leagues, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Softball and baseball have pitching machine leagues
And
for
I'm
the
not sure
younger
where
kids.
the leagues will go on that, if that's coming down the pike, or that'll be a bit yet, but.
I think for coach pitch boys, Lennox has one, Parker and Canton, I think all have them so far. And I know there was something about some people complaining about the use of them, but that kind of got shot down. And they said you can remove it when your team's up if you want, type of thing, but yeah, and with 2 batting cages now, probably a second pitching machine would be good. Cause I think I was told, we've never used it before, but I was told that if you put baseballs in it, it wrecks it. And I don't know if that's true or not.
It can be off
So-
of, so the one we got for softball through the school, it was almost $6,000.
Is that the one that's out there?
That's the one that's out there,
Okay.
because with our AD switch, I haven't been able to get into our room. And we can do baseballs through that. It'll still tear the baseballs up, but it won't wreck the machine. Or
Okay,
the softballs
yeah.
up, it'll tear the softballs up, but it won't wreck the machine. But if you get the $3,000 model, then you just have to use the dimpled balls or the softballs,
Okay,
and they're the only things you can use. So that's, and I know like softball has no pitching machine for anything. Minus the high school one is the only one that is somewhat functional, that's even decent.
so that'd be a good project too, I think.
So what it sounds like that we need to go back to LBSA is turf this year and get that done, and then next year, if we could work on a project together and know what kind of, so we're working towards getting something done.
If we could work next year, I mean, putting netting up, I just think, you just see all those kids running by. I mean, what it was, I what is it, 5 cars that I saw windshields get busted out? I'm pretty sure it's 5 cars for softball, high school softball. Most of them were out of towners, I mean, it wasn't so bad. But I think there were 5 windshields that got broke out. So, that's, I mean, that's what they talk about, when they leave Lennox, that's what they talk about. They're crappy fields, and now you got the windshield, they're gonna talk about that forever. So, I mean, Lennox is gonna sound like crap, because no money's getting put into that compared
They
to
already
the
have a
baseball.
bad attitude, we're fine.
Yeah, but then they go look at the baseball field, and they're like, oh, wow, they don't like girl sports. Yeah.
Does, the fall softball team play in Lennox ever, or are they all played in? Sioux Falls?
That's all in Sioux Falls at Dunham Park. Yep.
So a couple of years ago, when I helped coach the teams with Scott Eli, whoever ran that up there did ask if we would host. And so we were hosting some games on and off, and then we ended up hosting a tournament. And that went really well, we had good luck with that. But we ended up breaking both pitching mounds on both fields the very start of both games. So thankfully, I remember Trey had said he had tucked some in the shed, and I ran and I found them. We were able to replace them, but other than that, I don't know. It's just if they have too many teams up there, I think, then they'll ask, but.
The other reason I ask is just for, again, they're high schoolers, so potentially like the netting, the backstop netting,
Yeah.
and
So-
expanding that for fall.
The fall ball, so middle school and JV play at Dunham, and then the high school plays at Sherman. So they have it spread apart, so those are a lot of fields, and they're not over yet. They haven't asked to come.
Is there, has there ever been a jumping around a bid on the sprinklers for softball? Has that ever been priced out or?
Not that I know of.
Like a sprinkler system,
Yeah.
those are spending, I think.
Yeah.
And I would think, I don't know, you'd probably wanna level it off before you would maybe, cause I know at some point when the roads get redone, there will be drainage and stuff, right? And then at that time, maybe you do the sprinklers.
I just think you need to see a temporary thing, or like even
Yeah.
those old farm ones that would rock the whole field, you just turn it on and let it go, and they follow the hose. Just something like that's better than what we're doing now, because we're doing nothing now.
We gotta make sure
Nothing's
and
not
keep
good.
that hydrant there, so that we can hook up a sprinkler.
Yeah.
And then let it spray all over the place.
Is in the middle of the softball Little League field, there's a water pump?
Yeah,
Is
there's
that-
Yes.
Is that what we can use for if we pressure wash?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we could tie into?
Needs
Needs
to,
to,
yeah.
That's why I
thought
said,
so,
yeah.
but I just was making sure that. Okay, yeah, I think if LBSA can focus on some little things to make improvements and show that we're doing something, that's kind of our goal.
Yeah.
And I know softball's always been forgotten, and that's one of the reasons I joined is, my son's baseball, but it's LBSA, so it's both baseball and softball, so, we're here to help.
Appreciate it. And then we had one more item, but I'll kind of spearhead this one if that's okay. So Wendy Rachel's been trying to get us to bring a proposal to Shields for a grant. And the last one we brought was turfing the big field, everything, and they shut us down and said that was too much money. So then we were looking at other things we could do, big things that would fall within their budget. And we were talking about maybe doing some concrete at the big field and a bleacher system with shade over it. But after meeting with Drew, something that he brought up was the turf that's on the big field right now, the existing turf, is going to need to be replaced. He showed me where there was a bunch of patches he's already had to do. So he was going to reach out to the company who did the field at Gayville and see if he could get a quote, and maybe that would fit into that Shields proposal budget versus doing
Yeah.
concrete and bleachers.
And down in Gayville, they did the baseball field and the softball field. They turfed them both. It's awesome. The infield of both. It's grass outfield, turf infield. They did, it's awesome. So we went down there and played.
So
Turf
essentially,
is how old is that? How old is it?
he said every 10 years.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
sponsorship
already.
sign up there was 2018, and from my understanding, turf life is anywhere between 8 to 12 years, right around.
Yeah, and if
10
you got a
is an
spot like on
average, so-
baseball, you got a spot where the
I
first
know.
baseman stand all the time, that cuts down your, because it's always in that one spot, that cuts down your life in that area.
Yep. he said he had to replace the right-handed batters, left-handed batters box behind where the catcher sits, and then spots on the mound, so he was just gonna ask for bids for replacing what was already there, and then what it would be to do the whole infield. But essentially, the LBSA was coming to Park and Rec to ask if you guys would be in support of us trying to secure a big grant like that to do some major kind of work.
So the only thing I can tell you from the softball side is you're gonna have a lot of upset people, that more stuff's getting done to baseball and nothing's getting done to softball.
And originally, our thought was that we wanted to do concrete and bleachers at all three.
Yeah,
And then we kind of got some ballpark prices back on the concrete, and we were looking
it's not cheap.
around 60,000,
Yeah.
just concrete. And that was with no dirt work, no drainage or anything, so then we would have blown our budget out of the water. I think it was well over 100,000, what we kind of ballparked, and our cap is 75 with Shields, so. We were just looking for feedback from you guys, and if we try and go after that, what we should go after, what's a priority, and thoughts.
I can tell you support softball, which is great. What could we do that we could afford or that would make an impact that?
So right off when you walk in, you have that pea gravel where people sit. You can lose a small child in it, it's so loose and, okay? I mean, so like just general things aesthetically, so we have a lot of elderly people that come with their walkers. I've seen them almost fall multiple times. It's nothing is conducive to watching softball there unless you're an able-bodied walking person. It is not, the bleachers aren't great. It's all like stuff is moved over, set there, and you're gonna make do. That's what you see when you look at it.
You
So
could say
there's-
the same about the youth baseball field too.
Yeah, but look at that new outfield fence, look at that water and the water in the outfield. Oh, the
Right,
infield's so
but-
much better.
but I'm talking
Steve,
about-
it's not even
No,
close. I'm talking the whole
you're bringing up the
thing.
pea gravel.
I haven't stopped yet, I was just starting.
Okay.
That was just the
I'm
beginning, you just
saying-
cut me off. I
I'm
could
saying
keep going.
You could say the same thing about that one. Now,
Yeah.
the other stuff,
Yeah,
yeah.
I could keep going, that wasn't done, that was just the
Okay,
beginning.
keep
I mean,
going.
so there is not one real improvement besides agar lime and a coat of paint. That's it. That's it. That's what, the people are like, what are we doing? I'm like, city's got so much money, you can only do so much.
I think that's how we were looking at doing the concrete and stuff for that walkway. What else? I mean, so the dugouts, I thought the reason we were gonna do the dugouts is because they were hot.
We put some vents in, that's helped a lot. So that has absolutely helped a lot.
That's good.
So I think they're not nearly as hot because you actually have air moving them, so that isn't bad. But nets up so people don't, and then some kind of area where they walk in, because they all come in off the street, and it's not conducive.
I think we have a visitor to be heard.
I just want, I know it stinks, in terms of what we can and can't do with softball at this point, but until we have that Elm Street project, there is only so much
Right.
to do that's gonna make any sense.
Yep.
Talk about concrete for the spectator area, doesn't make any sense until you get drainage on Elm Street, because that entire grade is going to have to change, and you're gonna have to put that water somewhere. So what we don't wanna see is, you concrete this whole spectator area,
And then it
guess
puts
where
it on
that
the
water's
field.
gonna go?
Yeah.
It's gonna go to the infield.
Yeah,
softball.
you don't want that.
Irrigation too, as soon as we,
Right.
if we do irrigation next year, and I tear it up in 3 years, that's money gone.
Yeah.
I get it, it stinks.
That's why I
Maybe
like,
there are little things, I think a net potentially could be one of those things that we could do that doesn't make a whole lot of difference, but
or hose and a sprinkler, things where it makes a huge difference. It's a little thing that makes a big difference.
I mean, hose
Because
and
that outfield
sprinklers-
is so, like, there's cracks in it. It's so dry, it's so, and you go on all the rest and it's not.
A hose and a sprinkler, I'm sure we could do, but does the city have, will they water it if we buy a hose and a sprinkler?
we can water it. The problem is that you've got to babysit it.
Okay.
And anytime you don't have an automatic sprinkler system going, you're gonna have to babysit that system. We're gonna have
That's
to
true,
pull
otherwise you're gonna have
that
water
hose.
in one area. You'd
We're
have to
gonna have
wait
to pull that hose
softball.
every day, you're talking 400 or 500 feet of hose we're gonna have to pull every single day.
So manpower.
Right.
Okay.
Right. It means something else isn't getting done, and we're already,
Is, the entrance you're talking about, I know where you're talking,
Yeah.
is there, with what's gonna happen, is there a way to put another entrance down?
I just didn't know if we could put something that's firmer, that's not concrete, that's more, temporary, but it's
so
firm.
for the playgrounds, we use, and it's accessibility approved, we use an engineered wood mulch, and I think you could actually use actual wood mulch for some of that as well, if you can get it to compact enough.
There's wood mulch behind the field, a whole bunch of it.
Well, there's only one pile left now. And hopefully soon there'll be a giant pile at the rubble site. So we get that grinding done for free.
Right.
And that's his payment, because that's what
Yeah.
he sells to the users, so. It's not impossible to do that, but we're gonna have to order quite a bit of it, it's not cheap stuff, but
And
it
even if,
is a temporary.
and even if there's just a spot, it doesn't have to be all the way up to the fence, but if you have like a spot back further, just something more conducive for that, because there really isn't. It's,
So I think going forward, we're gonna do the turf this year, and then you want us to work on at least the netting.
the netting would
to
be
start.
huge.
Okay. Is that something that you're also putting funds, or is that something you'd like us to try to fund? So
I think if you guys are doing the turf,
Yeah. We go in on the
then
netting.
that could be more money for us to put towards the
Yeah.
net.
Okay.
Whether we could pay for it all, I don't, I mean.
But at least we could partner on it, whatever the percentage is, at least we could partner on it.
Yeah.
This is good timing, so tonight we're having, so our next agenda item after you're gone, we'll be talking about just preliminary budgeting for 2026. And then for next month, then we'll be trying to come up with our recommendations that we'll be making to city council. So
Okay.
it's very good time,
Perfect, yeah.
timing to have these, and we can kind of see where we're at and be in conversation with LBSA on that and things.
That's
too.
good, yeah, so then the
yeah.
net, I mean, that's something I think that we could go back and easily say, okay, it's $2,000, whatever, we'll do $100,000.
Mhm.
Yeah, because we don't have to worry about the turf, and we can focus on other things. We can focus on helping with the net, because that's not a huge budget line.
And I think the other thing is, if they do you guys do the project where you do the infield turf with that Shields money, then that could take a lot of our funding and push it towards the youth fields, I think. Yeah, it might be more for the big baseball field right now, but that's less that we have to spend on that then.
We also discussed with Drew the other day about looking into like the twins grant
Yeah.
to see, like maybe that way we could partner up between city and LBSA and find multiple grant sources to get some of this work accomplished. That way we can spread the love.
Hey, and another thing to think about for the softball field, the home plate area, if you could just put turf down on the home plate area where you batter's box, because that batter's box area it's really bad. You get 3 kids through it and it's 6 inches deep. And then by the time the game's over, you can't hardly fill it in. So just that would be huge, because it's very rough.
I think both with the potential turfing project and, or the bleacher idea, the shaded bleacher, like there would need to be much more conversation before that idea would be moving forward, just in terms of, like you said, some of the drainage things, or Nate mentioned, like the irrigation system at the big field, like that need to be dug up, and so there's some of those practicality things that we need to make sure that we have a city engineer that could review and make sure that we know some of the ins and outs before moving forward with before too much time is spent on that too. So, yeah, we can be in touch on that, but I think this is a good beginning conversation and kind of start somewhere, so, yeah.
I'll leave with, I don't plan on attending every meeting, but if you would like an LBSA member besides Sailor to be here, just ask him to be here, because we've got, I think, 6 members, so one of us will be here.
So that's what I was gonna ask Christy, is there, I don't know if we can do this or whatever, but, so we have like a report section, or is there a possibility of kind of setting like a recurring agenda item for, I don't know if it would be a report or whatever, but just having LBSA, whether it's someone comes monthly or every other month, you know what I mean, just some sort of recurring, just so.
Check on progress, check
Yeah.
on,
It'd be good for both of us.
Yeah.
We can add it to ours and
Yeah.
be smart.
I try and go back and forth, but then sometimes I'm like, wait, was that last month? Or somebody said that. So then I'm going through minutes and I've got double the minutes, and so I was like, if someone else can come and be a voice.
Yeah, we can visit about that, and, you know, this was on as new business, so if we were to talk about it next, it'd be under old business,
Yeah.
you know, and those
Okay.
sorts of things, so we can talk about what that would look like, and frequency that would make sense, and, you know, sometimes you can, yeah.
Okay,
We'll figure
we'll go
out
back
as we
and
go, but yeah.
talk to turf and then work on the net.
Okay, Awesome,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Do you want to sit through this next section?
Are you sure?
No, I said, do what?
All right, moving on. Preliminary budget considerations.
Yeah.
net for the softball field.
I asked
So-
Nate if he could give an overview of kind of current budget, and just an overview of the master park plan and where that's at, and just some of those things, and then we can open it up for discussion too, so.
Okay.
Capital,
Capital or equipment.
main budget.
So we started the budget process for 2026. You know, broad ideas really is what we're looking at this point in terms of, you know, what do we want to focus on, what are our priorities in Parks and Rec going to be. You know, we know there are some things we probably need to dig a little deeper in. One of those is fees. What are we charging? Is it actually covering program costs? We don't believe it is. But we did bring fees up over the last few years as well, so there may be some balancing that we need to do in there. We'll be studying that this coming few months as well. In terms of, you know, what this budget is going to look like, we're preparing for a pretty lean budget. We know that sales tax has been down the last several months. I expect that to continue for the remainder of the year and probably throughout next year. I just don't think we're gonna see a ton of growth. Did get an interesting email today where our sales tax for this month looks really good. But it's not real clear why. And oftentimes that's because of delayed filings. Maybe it was down last month and it's better this month, but still for the year, I plan for it to be either at last year or slightly below, so. Capital equipment is one of the other things we're looking at. This isn't something that would necessarily be on the park or recreation budgets in the general fund or the recreation fund, but it's something that we always have to plan for, right? If we need new lawnmowers, those aren't cheap. You know, they're fairly expensive. Capital equipment, we're using the sales tax fund for that now, so it's not something that would be in this budget, but something that still needs to be aware of for the park board. Park master plan, that is something the park board has recommended that the city council entertain. It did postpone that and give guidance that we take a look at that for the 2026 budget. Right now it is in there. It's going to be coming out of the sales tax fund again, not out of the park and recreation budget, just because it's a larger project of, you know, I think 64,000 was the price on it. I would expect it probably to be somewhere around 67, 68,000 next year, so.
You gotta read
Fantastic. So in terms of timeline, this is just a preliminary discussion. One of the two actual duties by ordinance of the park board is recommending a budget to the city council for parks. You know, we've talked before, not all of you may have been on at that time, but you know, the park board, their actual authorities over the condition of the parks and not recreation programs, but we still include, still includes you in those discussions. So the plan is to get some input, feedback, and guidance tonight for direction from the park board, And then next month, come back with an actual draft budget for you to review, potentially amend and then recommend to the city council so that we can take it to them in October. We'll have a budget hearing in October and then pass the ordinances in November. So a little bit later this year, which is really nice.
If we wanted to budget for like a new field or something like that, does the city have places now, land that you, so they don't have anything,
Not beyond the old football.
not, right, nothing, okay. 'Cause
And I would strongly urge everyone to wait until the results of that master park plan before we.
Yeah, well, no, I just had a couple people that wanted to donate, and so we didn't figure if that, then we might just go and we'll just do a high school field, and that'll be that, and do our own, because they don't wanna, I mean, that's 4 years, 5 years, I mean, that's a lot of seasons down the road, so they don't wanna wait much longer, so there's a lot of grants out there, there's like women's in sport, there's a lot of people that are upset about women's sports and they wanna get stuff done. The high school softball had a ton of money donated by individuals this year because we had $0 in our budget, because we get nothing. So there's a lot of upset people, so they're pushing hard, they want something in the next year or two. And so I was just wondering if there was anything, so then we'll have to go that way with it and just do our own thing. So they just wanted to know what.
I'd be happy to talk with anybody about long-term plans. I think it would be wise for the city and school to work together on.
Oh, yeah, they will. Oh, I'm sure they will. That's what they were talking about, working, but they didn't know if there was something that you had that we could go in with. So if you don't have like land or something that we could go in with, then.
No, we don't. I mean,
I just didn't know if there was
honestly,
something.
if the city were to purchase land, half mile outside of town, I guarantee the price is gonna become 25% more expensive than it would on the regular market.
Yeah, okay. Just checking.
Do you have an example of like what our budget was last year? By chance?
Parks is about 60,000, give or take.
I just couldn't remember.
I spent a lot of hours on this today, you'd think I'd have it right off the top of my head. Budgeted parks was 95.
95.
Mm-hmm.
We're at,
Trying to shortchange us.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're at 60 for the year, if I remember.
Right,
Oh, so we have we could,
Like we got it
67.
Yeah.
Mhm.
okay.
Geez, we have enough for
This
next.
was this was July end, so,
Through July.
yeah.
recreation, general fund was.
General fund is 101, right?
That was 60. 61 for recreation in the
Yes.
general fund. No, excuse me, that's 201.
That's 201. 101. Here, sorry guys, here we go.
You're okay.
That's lots of numbers.
42.
42.
42 for
Does
the
everyone
general
understand
fund.
the difference
Yeah, so
between
you're looking
general
at about
fund and
200,000.
the regular rec? Can
So
you
there's-
give me
so
that?
that-
Because I think
this
that'll
is-
be helpful.
It's probably the most confusing part of budget for most folks.
Finance,
So
too.
in government, we may have one checking account that commingles all the different dollars from different funds. So in local government, you've got a general fund. That's where, mostly property taxes, sales taxes, fees like permit fees, dog license fees, campsite fees, intergovernmental revenue, so our share of the highway and bridge fund from the state, the bank franchise tax that goes to the county. That's all intergovernmental revenue. So that's 2.3 to 2.6 million of just general government dollars. In that are individual departments: police, fire, finance, council and mayor, city administrator, parks, and recreation. Those are two different departments within the general fund. So when you think parks, think general upkeep, think seasonal groundskeepers, think a portion of Drew's wage, a portion of, no, you're not, are you? Okay. Bathroom cleaning supplies,
Spray materials.
Yeah, weed spray, just all the stuff that has to be done in a park in any given year. You think recreation, think program dollars, so like part of Christie's salary would be in there. You'd see, if we were going to do a net at the softball field, it would come out of recreation within the general fund, because it's supporting the recreation programs, but it's not directly supported by the fees for the programs. So that's the general fund. Then you have the recreation fund, which is Fund 201, I think is the number. I can't remember the formal name, but I think it's baseball softball fund, I think is what it was set up as many, many years ago. That's where all of your registration fees come in for, pickleball, summer rec program, baseball, softball, soccer, flag football, whatever else it might be. Donations, so sponsorships are routed through that fund to directly support programs. And then those program expenses are also out of there. So softball expense, baseball expense, when we're ordering equipment, when we're paying umpires, another portion of Christie's salary comes out of there. That's it.
General supply, yeah.
Yeah. And then, when we're doing things like the playground, that's a capital purchase. We're usually going to do that out of the second penny fund, which is supported by, there's 3 parts to sales tax. One part goes into, the first penny goes into the general fund. Second penny goes into Fund 212, which is our additional sales and use tax. And then you have the third penny, which is, I always get the third one wrong. There's beds, booze, and something else. It's triple B. And so you think of alcohol taxes, tourism taxes, those kinds of things that people pay extra on, like a hotel or those kinds of things. So that goes into its own dedicated fund as well, 215, I think. Pool is also in its own fund, Fund 614. So all pool expenses are routed through that department. I say all expenses, we're still paying for the pool. That is a separate fund as well from the debt service fund. So property taxes come in, payment goes out on the debt service fund, that general obligation fund.
But there's no pool expenses in the general fund, it's its own.
Correct.
Right?
And the losses at the pool each year are covered by generally the third penny. So $30,000 to $40,000 a year of third penny. And then any extra will generally be covered by second penny. Clear as mud.
Got it.
I'm just trying to figure out how you cut a penny into. Get a third of one.
No, there's not.
And then,
There's not.
no, I know, I was kidding.
There's 1 penny, 2 pennies, and then 3 pennies.
Like, I only have a third.
That's funny.
Trust me, if the state finds a way to cut pennies into
They'll do it.
They will do it and let us know about it later.
Any questions for Nick, just on general overview of budget? Otherwise, kind of as he mentioned, Nicole leading us just some initial conversation tonight in terms of kind of where, as a board, our priority areas want to be, so that when I'm drafting a budget to bring to you for review next month, that, I can be guided as best as possible. I did print in front of you, it's just meeting minutes from April, I believe is when we did our park walkthrough, which is the second priority area that this board has, in addition to the budget, is the annual park walkthrough. So these were the minutes from that, with some of the things as we were walking around, improvements that were discussed. So just wanted to have that in front of you, if helpful, so.
Have we allocated all of our 2025 budget then? I know you said we're sitting at 60, we have 95. Do we have plans though to spend the rest of that?
We'll be real close to
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, what is there still to come out? Is
So
that-
the
that's
numbers
a-
that I have in front of me are July, so there's still additional
Yep.
things that aren't, reconciled yet too, and also, additional, so on the park side, wages, so for example, Drew's time is just like 1/12 allocation, right? Allocation and those sorts of things. A little bit of our seasonal staff will still hit August as well, so.
Okay.
The I would think that the ash tree, you know, removal, that additional thing, so there's gonna be some continued expenses that always come up as well, so we'll be real close, I would say. There might be some, but we won't know like that, so.
No, is that Ashley, wasn't that like a grant we got for that, or was that just the one time? Actually, I thought there was something, but I can't remember, with the Forest Service or something, or is that planting trees?
That was planting.
Okay, no,
That was
yeah.
received, and we may apply again. The grant period just opened up on Danner's urban forestry grant program. So that was a cost share program. I don't remember how much we put in, it wasn't much.
No.
I got us about 25 trees, 24 of which it looks like survived, which is
Well, that's actually
solid.
pretty good,
Yeah.
because trees are hard to get going.
The large ash tree removal project we had earlier this year was paid for by the second penny fund.
Oh, gotcha.
The ones we're talking about now are ones that were not marked for removal
Yep, but now.
last year and early this spring, but are far gone now. And then we have some larger branches that are beyond our reach that are hanging that we need to get rid of with a professional, so.
Okay, so without numbers, it's hard, but like putting up the nets at the softball field, I think that's a
We'll have to have, I would really like Drew to check with who he was checking with and half the size of those poles, because they don't need to be that tall.
Yeah,
How tall do they need to be?
12 to 15 feet, because one thing, if you look at the baseball dugout, you have a big gap from the catcher's plate to where the backstop is, and then you need to have higher poles because of the angles. That's way beyond my schooling. But I know that if it's closer to where the ball's hit, it doesn't have to be as high. So,
we can definitely get that run before next.
yeah, and then that way, just, at least we have an idea of what that's.
And that would be on softball and Little League field?
I would have them check for both, because you have the same issue off the
Yeah.
road off the baseball field as you do the softball field.
If we're doing that, does anybody have an idea of what it would look like to do something with the same kind of material over the playground then? For like playground safety, if we're ordering nets, he said he can order on whatever length or size we needed.
Have one like
I think
right in
that
front
would
of
be a
it,
good idea.
you know,
Around
like,
the playground,
yeah,
if we
so
put
like
in a
have a-
couple poles and then had it drape
like 3
over.
poles, so you have like a wedge,
Mm-hmm.
that would work.
Okay.
Because nothing's really coming down on the playground, it's coming to the playground.
Yeah.
I heard it mentioned a couple of times, and I know that I've heard, like, maybe last summer, someone had mentioned shade at the big baseball field, like some sort of canopy or something. So it seems like that's been discussed kind of year after year. Just wanted to throw that out there. I know we've discussed it before here too. So between us or LBSA.
That was one of our items that we were actually looking at too for that Shields grant, so we we're just originally trying to get some guidance as to what was needed, so.
How would that help though? Because when you're playing a game, the sun's
It wouldn't
facing
be,
you.
wouldn't be for
So-
evenings, it'd be for daytime,
Yeah.
obviously.
And how many games do we have in the
Very
day?
few.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
like-
'Cause we
like,
lost
to
a
me-
tournament, a big tournament that we used to host, we lost 2 years ago too, so.
Yeah, so maybe it's not as priority.
I mean, another thing that I remember looking at was the foul poles in the softball field.
Yeah,
They're
they're not.
rotted out and stuff. And I think that would make it look a little sharper. And we could take it with us wherever, you know, remove and put them back when they did the redrainage of it. So I think that could be something.
Is the basketball court, are we still gonna be able to do like the resurfacing? Isn't there some extra materials maybe from the slurry seal? No?
It's your birdie on your shoulder that everybody's looking at.
I know, right?
I'm just waiting for a nod.
So on.
But it could be a
I
budget
think-
for next year, it could be in the budget for next year, right, so, not
I-
current year.
I think the bullpens are important.
Which
Yes.
we approved, the LBSA approved.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm
It
sorry,
was-
yeah.
Yes.
It's
so
already
it's-
been approved,
Yes,
sorry.
the funding is
I
approved
forgot.
for it, so whenever that works.
The park area that's kind of been, I don't know, when Nielsen developed that, there was a lot available or something, right, for that. Is there any plans on that with the, there's quite a few houses out there,
We're supposed to put a
um,
playground in or something at some point.
but I think the city's in, sorry,
Yeah, the new development.
yeah.
There's green.
Because they kind of have a ways
designated
to go
green
right
space.
now.
You should just stay up
I
there.
feel like every time I come up, I should say my name. Hey, Mayor, Boss, City of Lennox, 609 North University. So when we do these preliminary plans and development agreements with, whether it's a developer or somebody that's trying to subdivide, we have a 5% green space dedication requirement. So they have to give us 5% of the area in green space. Most of countryside and most developments, that's drainage areas. So if you drive up Juniper, you'll see those two drainage areas on either side of the road that we're gonna be reseeding to natural prairie. So that's most of it, but then if you go up off of, I wanna say it's Hofer, I can't remember the name of the street over there, on the far northeast part of the development, there's a drainage area, but then there's also dedicated green space for a park. It's not huge, but it's there. As they start filling that out in the next year or two, we'll need to talk to them about acquiring adequate space for hanging parking if we need it there, and then access and putting a park in. I have a bookmark in my second penny budget this year for a potential playground purchase. Because if we purchase it this year, you figure the year after, excuse me, if we purchase it late next year, you figure 2027 is probably when it's going to go in. I don't know what size playground we want to look at. The West Evergreen one will probably be about the right size.
Yeah,
It's
I would
going to be
say so.
smaller park, not going to be used quite as much, but we will need one up there probably in the next 2 or 3 years. It really, some of this really depends, guys, on how quickly the rest of that fills out.
Right.
We're that drainage area, that's also supposed to be seeded in native prairie. But I want to see what that looks like, how wet it is after we get foundations up and roofs built, to see how wet it actually stays. If it's going to be, if it's going to be wet most of the year, that completely changes what we're going to put in there. So there's a lot that has to happen out there yet before you get to that stage, but yeah, we're definitely keeping an eye on it.
And that wouldn't necessarily be out of this, that would be out of the.
We probably do second opinion on that. It's a large capital purchase, so.
Okay.
Good questions.
Good question.
In Nate, I don't know if you want to sit down. Sorry, just warning you.
Hey, man, Platte City.
We had talked about the bike trail and finishing the bike trail. And that would be potentially acquiring some land. And I know you said that was kind of maybe off the table.
I don't know that it's off the table. I think it's a challenge. I still think it's possible. It's just difficult. We're looking at a very small area that really probably won't be developed anyway. It's just a matter of agreeing on a price, and we have not approached that topic before yet. So.
It would be nice, because I go by and there's 3 or 4 kids always fishing there.
Mhm.
They could actually fish on the other side and not have cars go by.
Yeah.
It would be so nice.
I still worry about that every time.
I know, I go by and they're not paying, somebody's not paying attention, and I'm just like, every time, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh.
So it is still possible. When we do that, I mean, it's probably something we need to talk with that landlord about here in the next few months, just to get a feel for it. And if it's something that's,
Because isn't that
That's
area
possible.
floodplain anyways? Because it's
some
right
of
on-
it is,
yeah.
most of it will be, if the new plan is adopted, and it will be. I mean, it's,
So
we know that it floods. We've
Right.
all seen it. Some of
We've
us
all
have
seen
it.
it, yeah.
And we're really talking about the area that butts right up against Long Creek.
Right, that's it.
It won't be a problem to get permission, I don't think, from the county or the state to use the right of way, but getting from Highway 44 to Cleveland without having to build
Yeah, 'cause yeah.
2 bridges.
Or put in one of the culvert box things or whatever, do one of those again or whatever.
Yeah, But we'd ask the DOT or Game Fish and Parks for help on that. I do think we should look at the Land and Water Conservation Fund through Game Fish and Parks to see if we can acquire that land with those funds. That would be one of those options.
I think that's a good.
As would, you know, the other uses we've talked about in the past for that is a future dog park, but that's something that we'd still like to get that going this year at that small lot as well. So.
But I mean, if you think about it with some of these grants, it's actually being used for game fishing park type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, there's a lot of fishing, there's a lot of habitat watching, there's a lot of.
There's 3 primary grants we go after. Land Water Conservation Fund is the primary one we use for land acquisition. That is a primary purpose there. Game Fish and Parks has a recreational trails program. We've always kind of thought that that would be more of our, you know, we have a master park plan here, but or a master trails plan, but if you look at that, you've got a potential trail going northeast from Boynton behind Countryside.
Yep.
You've got trails following out along Long Creek and Lennox tributary, right? So that, we've always thought that that would be more useful for the Game Fish and Parks grant because it's more of a natural setting. That would apply more for their funding. Then the one that we've used for Highway 44 and Highway 17, what was already there a couple of years ago, that was all done with DOT Transportation Alternatives funding. So.
Cool.
So with all that being said, does it make sense to talk about budget ideas or potentially budgeting for when we're talking about park and rec funds for that?
You can. It's not something that would come out of these departments.
Okay.
Again, that's a large capital purchase. Transportation Alternatives is an 80-20 grant, so you figure probably about $1 million to get from where the trail currently ends all the way to West Evergreen.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Maybe a little bit more, it depends on the year. So we'd have to come up with about $200,000 for that. And you would know that about a year in advance, so it wouldn't really be out of, you know, if we apply next year for the TA grant and we're awarded, we probably wouldn't build it until 27 or 28.
Right, so you could budget it in.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the big stuff, we're just talking littler.
Yeah, your responsibility is to recommend for the parks.
Yep.
But I don't think it hurts to have input on what you're thinking, looking further out.
Long term.
With
We know that beautification was one of the goals. We know that finishing the rec trail to West Evergreen was one of the goals of the park board. I'm blanking on the other one or 2 goals right now, but those are still things that are active. Those are, you know, they're small things we can do for beautification. Trail's a big thing. There's other big things we can do. Those are, I don't want to say pie in the sky, but they're things that we have to make sure that we're set for.
With the band shelter, is it structurally done, ready now? I mean, there's,
Yeah.
so the,
It's
okay,
being painted tomorrow.
right, so, I mean, it looks state, I mean, from what it looked like now, like, it looks really
Yeah.
nice. I
Good
was like,
job.
yeah.
It'll basically be complete tomorrow. That's the last of it, right? Is the thing?
We got to do punch list inspections yet on museum and band shell, but it's the last big task.
And then the park flower area right out by the pool looks really nice, the pedal, I mean, so a lot of those things are starting to really, I mean, it looks really nice when you start going through the park now, I mean, it's,
Small improvements
Right,
that make a
it's-
big difference
right.
over time. Yep.
And I do think they make a big difference, right?
Yeah.
Even like you're talking the foul ball
Yeah,
bowls and
yeah.
just some of
Little
those
things
things
make a
are
big difference.
making sure the pea gravel's filled in so
Yeah.
it's not, you know, dispersed and, yeah.
Did we do the volleyball stand?
I was gonna ask that
No.
too.
But we voted to, right?
Yeah, you recommended that we do it.
Okay.
It's one of those things that we will, I mean, we kind of thought, well, let's see where the budget ends up, because it ain't gonna be cheap.
So wouldn't that be something we budget for this upcoming year?
You can.
Okay.
Do we have
Chrissy?
a rough idea on, I mean,
15.
Why do we have 15,000, right? Is that
Yeah,
what,
right.
okay. if
Which
we're
is
both
about
thinking
what
none
your
of us-
discretionary was this year, so you
Yeah.
could use that as one of your discretionary projects maybe.
Cause we use that on the
After
park,
walking on the shores of Lake Michigan and feeling the sand, I was reminded of how rough the sand is. Sorry.
cause we used that discretionary on the park this last time by the.
Yeah, it was used on the
Oh, yeah, that's right.
No, batting cage.
Batting cage.
The batting
Yeah,
cages.
batting cage, that's right, yep.
But we probably wanna, I mean, Clint wants nets, right?
It's safe.
And
I just-
I agree. I mean, does everyone agree that
Yeah.
that's something that we wanna?
It's a little thing that will make a huge difference.
What about some of the smaller items, like the horseshoe gaga ball area? We talked about maybe doing like those concrete cornholes, like some of the less expensive things.
But even some of the things at the T-ball field, like the shed replaced, is that gonna, that's not probably that, or adding a porta potty. There's a lot of teams that use the T-ball fields.
The tees, I could ask the LBSA if we could buy new tees.
Chevy donates tees too.
So I was gonna mention that, so a couple of these things we've walked through early enough, so like the porta potty wasn't out there yet, but
They
there
did
was
get
one,
added.
yes.
Okay,
So
good.
that goes out there each year.
Okay,
So a
good.
few of these things on the list are, done, so the tees, we did get the donation from Chevy's and, so
Okay.
all T-ball teams had their own tee and returned them back, so I think we're good there. And, trash cans was on there, but I think it was just that it was early in the season,
Got
so
it.
they hadn't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they weren't necessarily, these aren't all budgetary considerations, right? It was just kind of the list of what we noticed as
Yes.
relevant.
Drew's only one man.
I do think whether we replace with cornhole or not, the horseshoes are getting pretty overrun. And I think it's almost a hazard because they're sticking out like that, and it'd probably be good to get them removed either way. But I did like those, the concrete cornhole,
Cornhole boards.
not boards, I guess, because they're
Right.
Yeah,
concrete, but
yeah.
whatever they'd be called.
Well, they still call it cement boards, they're still called cement boards, so I think,
Sure.
yeah, I think it would be.
Concrete core.
So, but I think that would be kind of neat and right by the RV or the campground, because that's stuff that is
And I
at a
can't
lot of
remember
campgrounds.
the gaga ball pit there. Was there anything that needed to be done there, or were you just thinking maybe that would be a cool, like, part of the rec program, summer rec program or something? I can't remember.
I think it needed some sand probably, or like,
Or repainting or something.
Yeah.
It was a minor.
There was a little
Minor
thing.
stuff, yeah.
it was still in pretty good shape, I thought.
I didn't even
Yeah,
know what was
recall.
back there, if I'm being honest.
It was an Eagle Scout project.
Yeah, someone built it
Okay.
a few years ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
There were a few things down on skate park,
Yeah.
where is the conversation, or what are your thoughts on?
I think for sure those screws need to be tightened down.
And those were, yeah.
Oh, that's already
yes,
taken care
yeah.
of too? Perfect.
Is the art/painting the concrete, is that something we could do as like a
Fundraiser?
rec program next year? Like, do an art rec program and part of their program is getting to do murals on the concrete? With an art teacher, of course.
With direction?
With direction.
Or collaboration with
The
the high school.
Yes, because we
art
talked
program,
about
yeah.
the art teacher.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Emily.
she had some students that she knew of, yeah.
I know Brian had mentioned to me there was a project in the past, but now I'm drawing a blank. What did Brian, what did he partner? No, okay,
The plow,
We put
painting the
new,
plow.
thank you.
Oh,
Yes.
we had put new ramps on a few years ago.
Right.
Then we talked about, at the walkthrough, we talked about working with the high school art program to, add some
Color.
appropriate color graffiti to the skate park. And that south fence also needs some attention.
I think we should budget some for the skate park.
Yes.
For vents.
What does something cost? Like,
No idea.
it's hard to prioritize when you don't.
Exactly.
If you made it a rec program and you got kids to show up and paint,
It would just be
maybe the rec
supplies.
fees would cover the cost of paint.
Yeah, potentially, depending on, if we're talking, it's a school partnership, so if it's the student body, it can certainly come out of park budget as well. In terms of the fence repair, that's something we could easily have American Fence give us a quote on, if we've worked with them in the past, so.
And it does say, look to maybe add another attraction. Again, I have no idea what that costs, but just potentially throwing something
No idea.
out there. We're just brainstorming, right?
Yes.
But of those, would you wanna prioritize the paint and the
Yeah,
fence repair for
make it
now,
look
for
good,
upcoming
yeah.
year? Okay,
Continue with our beautification of that area.
yeah. Okay.
For camp, it says campground, new gravel coming. Was that done or that's?
Nate and I were just talking about that today. We think that will be able to be the gravel for the campground yet.
I think we just need to do it.
It might be done this year.
Okay.
I don't know what budget. It might be done this year.
And gravel under that southeast corner of the pool, while you're at it.
Yeah.
Oh, with a washout?
Uh-huh.
Good.
Take a couple skid loader buckets full.
And compact it.
Yeah.
Put a couple boulders in there first, and then some gravel.
I think really like we kind of got something off of each
Yeah.
section
Yeah,
of the
exactly.
planner. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Can someone tell me what we all, like, I didn't, I wrote it all down in
The
different
nets
spots.
for the little league and the
Okay.
softball field. The net over that playground area. Foul poles on the ball field.
Softball field, right?
Yes. Hopefully softball. Cornhole / gaga ball / horseshoe pit area. And then the skate park.
Painted the skate
painting
park.
and fence.
And this might be, I know Nate had said one time that we get a lot of like donations and they're not too expensive, but maybe some sort of like bench or seating options around the band shell now that's all nice and shiny.
That's a great idea.
That's a great idea.
Put up some benches.
Absolutely.
I did notice that at West Evergreen, that was one of the things listed,
Yeah.
a few benches in the volleyball area, but I don't know. what
So if you
that
put
takes.
benches by the band shelter, you'd probably want movable ones, since you have like cars that pull up there and stuff, because if you put permanent benches, then you limit your ability to do things like that.
Yeah, and I think
Think
maybe
about
like keep them
placement.
kind of back, like not.
Either
Not
like
right in
right in
front.
front
Yeah.
or way
Over
back.
by
Yeah,
the tennis courts, kinda, in
Yeah,
the tree
kind of.
area.
So you're not like
Maybe.
right up there, but you could still sit and enjoy it if you wanted to from there.
Are there still a lot of people trying to donate for those types of benches, or?
I haven't seen any
No.
more come in.
I know there,
Recently.
a lot went out.
Maybe
Yeah.
2 this year.
Mhm.
Okay.
I'm way out of season here, and this is not what we're talking about, but band shelter might be a cool place to like set up that big movie screen and do like outdoor movies or something.
Oh, that's a good
That'd be
idea.
a great idea.
I don't know, as part of like the Fun Friday thing or something.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
That would be.
Yeah.
Movie in the
Use-
park.
Yeah, maybe in the
Yeah.
park or something.
I do have quotes on, you have to go through, when you get the rights to be able to play it and all
Oh,
of that.
that's
So I
right.
do have, we were in contact due to the pool, us wanting
Yeah.
to do kind of an event
Oh, yeah.
in the pool. Anyway, so, yeah, it's a good idea.
We want to watch that movie. We can't, we don't have the license.
Exactly.
So we wanted to show Jaws this year.
Yes.
Oh my god.
You were not able to get a license for Jaws because it was the 50th anniversary. They wanted exclusive rights.
So next year.
Next year,
Next year.
exactly.
But we can do anything Mickey Mouse or Winnie the Pooh, because all of those are out of their copyrights. So that's why there's lots of like Mickey Mouse horror movies and stuff
Yeah.
coming out now.
Yeah.
So, so you can do really, really old stuff. Steamboat Willie! Woo!
Those are fun.
Okay. Is there any way to get kind of, I don't know, like a
Estimates?
price estimate before the next meeting, so we know where we're at, kind of, for each of these things?
I'll definitely do some work.
Is
on
that-
Yeah.
Okay.
'Cause that'll help a lot. Then we-
Yeah, because then we'll know where we're
Absolutely,
at,
yeah.
and if something's way higher than
Yeah.
we thought.
Exactly.
For sure.
We kinda talked about it just a little bit, but we didn't really put it on the list. That shed at the T-ball field.
Yeah.
We gotta, that's probably.
That's a couple $1,000s. and
Exactly.
I think that should be.
There were bunnies living in
replaced.
there, we did our water
Yeah.
tower.
Yes,
So it just needs to be like gotten rid of and then something else put there.
yeah, move a new one in,
Yeah, I don't think there's any seed in that one.
No.
or I guess you could make it permanent.
I think you would spend more money trying to fix it than buying a new one.
I know somebody who could build one,
Yeah,
if you ask really nicely.
yeah, I do too. Even like a little pole barn type thing, you know, you just put up 4 posts and
Anything else?
There was some about adding swings at
Yes.
West Evergreen.
I like that one.
I don't remember what that was.
that was adding swings to what was already there.
Did
Those-
we get the tether
They just
ball?
weren't there anymore?
No,
Yeah.
I think didn't we take the swings down that were there because one
Well,
of
there's
their
a tire
damaged or
swing.
something?
There's
No,
one-
but there's the black frames. And there were,
There's the toddler swings.
Yeah, there's
So
there's
there's
the
so that's what's in there now. There
Yeah.
used to be a adult seat and then a kid kind of seat.
Yeah, no, they're just the 2 toddler
Okay.
swings and then the tire swing right
Uh-huh.
now. We talked about just getting like a standard swing set, like obviously a park grade one, but just with a couple swings.
Just a regular metal A.
Yeah.
Should see if high
And
school
then-
shop class wants to build a swing set.
Another easy one would be dugout hooks in the
LVSA
T-ball
is
field.
gonna fix
Okay, we're
that.
doing that.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. I think those are good
I think it's awesome.
places to start, and then we'll see how it comes back.
It gives me great guidance, appreciate that. Yeah.
And we hit a lot of places, stuff got done in a lot of places, so I mean, that was, and there's like people, I have a lot of people love that new park, like, they're like, they drive in, they say that's awesome, they
Yes.
really like that. From what they, old metal 1960s, you know, I mean,
I've got a daughter that's kind of mad that the ladybug thing, or what is that,
Oh,
a
yeah.
spider?
Oh, yeah.
She really wants that back, but,
Probably deliver it to your house.
yeah.
Should buy it for your backyard.
I don't know if that would be, a purchasable, because I think that would be a liability, because
That would violate multiple.
That's a no, I guess.
you're like, oh, what happened to your daughter? Well, she fell off the ladybug.
So, all right, are we good then?
I motion to adjourn. Oh, you beat me.
All in favor?
I second Sailor's motion.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, everybody.
Oh. Long ways.
I feel like we made a lot of progress tonight.
Yeah.
We were like, doing stuff. That was
I
good.
thought we were gonna be done at like 6:30. I was looking at like,
The way we started going, I was like, wow, we're really flying through
I
this.
knew it was a budget meeting, so
And then I didn't see that.
I didn't see the budget line in the end, I'm like, oh, Shawshank